Hello students, today we learn that how to analyze a multi-degree of system vibration. Okay, so in my previous lecture I did tell about two degree of freedom system. Over here we will take multi-degree of system, multi-degree of freedom. So there are n number of masses connected by the help of springs. You can see. So n masses can vibrate independently. So n independent coordinates are there for vibration. So it is multi-degree of freedom system. Okay. So we'll analyze it and ultimately we'll find out that in case these masses are vibrating, then what will be the frequency of the vibration. Okay. So you can see this mass m1 is connected to this spring k1. One end of the spring is fixed at the top, then it is connected to k2, then mass m2, k3, m3, like this. Okay, so k1, k2, k3 are the spring constants and m1, m2, m3 are the masses, the magnitude of masses, like this. Okay, so imagine a case that they are vibrating and we are taking an arbitrary case in which while vibration at an instance x1 is greater than x2. These are the displacements, x1, x2, x3 are the displacement of the masses. So x1 is greater than x2 is greater than x3, like this, and up to x1. Okay, and all are moving in downward direction at a particular instance when they are vibrating. We are taking an arbitrary case. Okay, now in case x1 is greater than x2 is greater than x3, then accept the first spring, since m1 is pulled in downward direction, so it will be in tension. This is T. However, if x1 is greater than x2, it means what? Displacement of x1 will be greater than displacement of x2. So relative displacement will be, it will lead to compression of this spring 2. Suppose this is 10 centimeter and this x2 is 8 centimeter. Okay, so 10 minus 8, because relative displacement will be 2 centimeter of compression of this spring, so it will lead to compression. Similarly, x2 is greater than x3, so this is also in compression. So except this first spring, all the springs are in compression, first spring is in tension. Okay, so first job is find out the force balances of all the masses. Okay, so I will take the first mass, say m1. Okay, so m1 x1 double dot, x1 double dot means acceleration of this mass, and this mass is in immediate connection of spring 1 and spring 2. So due to these two springs, whatever force is applied on this mass will lead to mass into acceleration of this mass m1. Okay, so m1 x1 double dot, x1 double dot is double differentiation of displacement with respect to time, that is acceleration. So m1 x1 double dot is equals to, since this spring is in tension, so it is pulling the mass in upward direction. However, displacement x1 is in downward direction, opposite directions are there, so we will take negative. So minus k1 into x1 is the elongation of this spring 1. Now spring 2 is in compression, so it is pushing this mass in upward direction m1 and m2 in downward direction. So if we are considering m1 mass, so the push is in upward direction and displacement is in downward direction. So push and the force and displacement are in opposite direction, so again there will be negative into k2 into total amount of compression, that is equals to x1 minus x2. Okay, so this is our equation. Now we can rearrange it taking all the terms toward left hand side. So ultimately m1 x1 double dot plus x1 k1 plus k2 minus k2 x2 equals to 0. This is our equation 1. Now taking mass m2, so it is in immediate connection with spring 2 and 3. Okay, so spring 2 is in compression, so it is pushing the mass in downward direction. So direction of push by spring 2 and direction of displacement are same, so we will take plus k2 into total amount of compression x1 minus x2. So you can see m2 x2 double dot equals to k2 x1 minus x2. Now this spring 3 is also in compression, so it is pushing mass m3 in downward direction and m2 in upward direction. So considering m2, so the direction of push and direction of displacement are in opposite direction. Okay, so we have to apply minus k3 into x2 minus x3. So again by opening the bracket and taking all the terms in LHS, we will get m2 x2 double dot plus x2 k2 plus k3 minus k2 x1 minus k3 equals to 0. Equation 2. Similarly for this mass, the third mass also we can do like same analysis. So ultimately we will get this third equation, m3 x3 double dot plus x3 k3 plus k4 minus k3 x2 minus k4 x4 equals to 0. This is our equation third. Like this n equation can be formed because there are n masses. Okay, now I have written all the equations in one place. You can see equation 1, 2 and 3 and like so on up to n. Okay, now remember one thing, that all the masses will vibrate, will execute SHM, however at a particular instance of time. In particular condition, all the masses will have same angular frequency. Suppose I say at a particular instance the angular frequency is 11 radian per second. Okay, therefore all the masses will start vibrating with same angular frequency 11 radian per second. If another instance is there, the angular frequency is suppose 20 radian per second, then all the masses will vibrate with 20 radian per second. So this is what I am telling over here, that all the masses can execute SHM with a unique frequency only. There is a mathematical proof of this thing, however over here I am not taking that. Okay, that is not important over here. So all will have unique frequency omega at a particular instance of time. Okay, now suppose I say that masses are vibrating with a unique frequency omega, then for mass m1, the this equation of SHM will be small x1 equals to capital X1 sin omega t. This we know, capital X1 stands for amplitude, omega is the frequency. Second mass is also vibrating with same angular frequency, so small x2 equals to capital X2 sin omega t. Okay, because frequency is same, and small x3 equals to capital X3 sin omega t, like this, so on. So in case we are putting these values of x1, x2 and s3, means small x1, small x2, x3 in these equations. Okay, suppose I am taking this first equation. So in place of this x1, in case I am keeping this capital X1 sin omega t, so this is double differentiation of x1 with respect to time. So 2 times differentiation of this x1 sin omega t will lead what? Minus omega square capital X1 sin omega t. So in place of this x1 double dot, I can write minus m1 omega square sin omega t. Similarly, over here it is again x1, so over here I can write what? Capital X1 sin omega t into k2 plus k1 plus k2 plus k2. Over here it is small x2, so here I can write minus capital X2 sin omega t, because small x2 equals to this, into k2 equals to 0. So what we see, in the LHS we can take out sin omega t common, so we can cancel it. Ultimately our equation is this. By putting these value, these equation of SHMs over their respective places in equation 1, 2, 3. Okay, in equation 1 I have kept, and this is my equation 4. Like same, in case we put these in equation 2, I will get this equation minus m2 x2 omega square plus capital X2 k2 plus k3 minus k2 x1 minus k3 x3 equals to 0. Similarly, by putting these equations in equation 3, I will get this equation 6, this one, like so on. I will get up to n, because there are n equations. Now taking all these equations at one place, 4, 5, 6, so I will written over here up to n equations. Okay, now in case we are able to solve this system of equations, we can find out what will be the value of omega, because except omega, angular frequency, all we are considering as constant, because spring constant is constant, amplitude is constant, mass is constant. Only omega we have to find out. So for finding out what will be the value of omega, we have to solve these equations. For that case, we have to write these equations in matrix form. So how to write it? First job is make a column matrix and write all the values of this amplitudes like this, capital X1 amplitude of mass 1, amplitude of mass 2, x2, x3, like so on. Okay, now to the left hand side you make a matrix which contains the coefficients of x1, x2, x3. So I am telling you how to write those. The first column of this matrix will contain only coefficients of x1 from these equations. Okay, for example, see over here I have written x1, x2, x3. So in first equation, what is the coefficient of x1? Minus m1 omega square plus k1 plus k2. Okay, because this is also multiplied with x1, so I have written over here the coefficient of capital X1. Now second element of this first column, again from second equation, find out what is the coefficient of x1, minus k2, so I have written over minus k2. Now from this third equation, what is the coefficient of x1? Since there is no capital X1, so I will write 0. Like so on, in the rest of the equations there is no coefficient of x1, so all will be 0. Now second column, you will keep the coefficients of x2 from all the equations. So we will take the first equation. So first equation, what is the coefficient of x2? It is minus k2, so I have written minus k2. And second element of first column, in second equation, what is the coefficient of x2? That is equals to minus m2 omega square plus k2 plus k3, so I have written that. Okay, similarly third equation, what is the coefficient of capital X2? It is equals to minus k3, I have written that. And similarly the coefficient of x3 in the first equation, since there is no x3, so 0. Third column, and again second element of third column, what is coefficient of x3? It is equals to minus k3, written. And like this, in from third equation, what is the coefficient of x3? Like this, so on. Okay, and like this we can write the coefficients like this. So these matrices are actually multiplied equals to a null matrix, because RHS contains what? 0 0 0 like this. Okay, so what is how why we can say that this we have the system of equations we have written in matrix form, because in case you are multiplying this matrix, I believe that you know how to multiply two matrices. Multiplying this matrix with this matrix equals to 0 0 0, you will get the same set of equations. That's it. So you have converted these equations in matrix form. Now over here RHS is 0, a null matrix. So LHS must also be 0. Now this column matrix x1, x2, x3, this cannot be 0. Reason being, these are amplitudes. So a vibration cannot take place without any amplitude, so it cannot be 0. So only possibility is that this matrix has to be 0, because 0 into this matrix will give 0. Okay. So find out the value of this matrix by taking determinant form, and then that will lead to the solution for finding these omegas. For example, suppose I am taking a case of 3 degree of freedom system. Okay, so 3 equations I will take, 3 into 3 matrix will be formed. Okay, into x1, x2, x3 equals to 0 0 0. Now I think you know how to find out the value of determinant. So this cannot be 0, this can be 0, so taking it in determinant form like this. So again this first element into this minus this into this, so like that I have proceed. Similarly again after then minus k2 into this and this into this. Okay, so I have written this, open this determinant to find the value. That's it. Okay, what we see over here that omega is the variable for which we are doing the exercise, rest of all are constants. Okay, so when we will multiply and we will simplify the equations, we will get a polynomial equation omega. Okay, and that will be equals to 0. So solve that polynomial equation, find the value of omega, that will be the frequency of vibration. For example, taking all the masses and spin constants as unit to make it simple, means m1, m2, m3 are 1, as well as k1, k2, k3 are also 1, taking magnitudes. Okay, so ultimately our this equation will reduce to this, and ultimately we will get one equation, omega to the power 6 minus 3 omega 4 plus omega square plus 2 equals to 0. So the roots of this equation you can find by online method. Go to internet and find out the roots of this equation. Okay, so I have found that omega's value can be 1.27 units or 1.47, and rest of the 2 units, since it will contain 6 units, 2 are imaginary and 2 are negative. So negative omega is not possible, as well as imaginary roots are also not possible. So the feasible possibility is omega is equals to 1.27 or 1.41. It means what? That at a particular instance, all the masses of this 3 degree of freedom system will vibrate with either 1.27 units, it can be radian per second to 1.2 radian per second, or all the masses can vibrate with 1.41 radian per second. Okay, so this is how you can find out the angular frequency of vibration in case there are n degree of freedom system, and in spring mass case we are taking over here. So hope by the help of this small lecture you would have learnt that how to find out, how to analyze multi degree of freedom system vibration, and how to find out the angular frequency of vibrating masses. Thank you.